Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, let me tell you something that will shift the way you see your situation. You've been waiting for God to speak, and I get it. You've been fasting, praying, searching the scriptures, crying in the midnight hour, asking, Lord, where are you? What are you saying? And the heavens feel silent, but hear me. God is not always going to speak in the way you expect. Just because the answer didn't come wrapped in a verse or thundered from a pulpit doesn't mean he hasn't spoken. See, God speaks in many ways, and sometimes the loudest message he gives is the one you don't hear with your ears. You hear it in the patterns, in the shift, in the disruption, in the delay, in the thing that didn't go how you planned. He speaks through closed doors. He speaks through dry seasons. He speaks through the job that didn't call back, through the relationship that fell apart, through the plans that didn't work out. You're asking for a sign, and God's saying, I already gave it. You just didn't recognize it. Some of you are mistaking silence for absence. But let me help you. God doesn't have to shout when he's already shifted. He doesn't have to send an angel when he's already rearranged the path. That unexpected detour, that rejection letter, that uneasy feeling in your spirit, that wasn't coincidence. That was a sign. That was God's way of saying, this is not it. He speaks through life, through timing, through circumstances that don't make sense in the moment, but line up perfectly in hindsight. When God closes a door, it's not always punishment. It might just be prevention. He sees the whole road, and you're just looking at the next step. That job you wanted so badly might have kept you stuck. That person you thought was the one might have broken you. That opportunity you cried over might have been a trap. And yet you're saying, God, where are you? Not realizing that the silence was the shout. The obstacle was the message. The no was the blessing. We want the burning bush. We want the parted sea. But sometimes God speaks in the small things, in the disruption, in the change of plans, in the discomfort. You've been ignoring the signs because they didn't look spiritual enough. But God is not limited to a Sunday service. He is not confined to a sanctuary. He can speak through a canceled meeting, a missed flight, a closed opportunity. And yes, he can speak through pain. So stop waiting for lightning when God has already moved the clouds. Stop demanding a voice when he's already changed the direction. He's been talking. You just weren't listening the right way. It's time to tune your spirit, not just your ears. Because if you don't learn to recognize his voice in your storm, you'll miss the message that was meant to guide you through it. There comes a moment in every believer's life when you stand at the edge of something that looks like it came to destroy you. You look at the wall, at the obstacle, at the situation that refuses to move, and you think, this must be the end. But let me speak life into you right now. What you see as a blockage may actually be a bridge. What you call an obstacle could be God's way of steering you, guiding you, and yes, protecting you. See, we often think that forward is the only direction of blessing. We believe that if we're not moving the way we planned, then something must be wrong. But the God we serve doesn't just bless through acceleration. He blesses through interruption. He blesses through redirection. Some of the greatest blessings in your life won't come from what you walk into, but from what you couldn't get into. The thing that didn't happen, the deal that didn't close, the path that wouldn't open. That wasn't a failure. That was divine intervention. God doesn't just close doors, he guides feet. And sometimes the feet don't understand the floor they're walking on. You keep rebuking the thing that won't move, but maybe God put it there not to block you, but to turn you, to pivot you, because had you kept going the way you wanted, you would have walked into a trap, not a triumph. Think about it. How many times have you looked back and said, "Thank God that didn't work out," but in the moment, oh, it hurt. You cried, you prayed, you begged, but God saw further than you could see. He saw the danger. He saw the compromise. He saw the delay dressed up as an opportunity, so he said no. He let the obstacle stand, not to punish you, but to direct you. Because his purpose isn't just to get you somewhere, but to get you there in wholeness, with your faith intact, your heart guarded, your character developed. Let me tell you, sometimes the obstacle is a holy detour. You're frustrated because the road is closed, but you don't know the bridge up ahead is broken. God rerouted you not because he's cruel, but because he's kind, because he cares more about your destination than your convenience, because he would rather have you late and safe than early and destroyed. So don't curse the wall. Don't cry over the door that won't open. Don't collapse under the pressure of redirection. God is not just in the breakthrough, he's in the block too. He's not just in the green light, he's in the stop sign. And if you can stop seeing every no as punishment and start seeing it as protection, your faith will grow stronger, your heart will stay steadier, and your spirit will rise higher. We don't like pain, we run from it. We pray it away, we rebuke it. We ask God to remove it, to lift it, to end it. But let me help you see something. Pain has a purpose. You may not understand it when you're in it, but there is a reason behind the pressure. There is a lesson in the wound. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow it without intention. If you're feeling it, he's using it. You see, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Maturity doesn't come on the mountaintop. Faith doesn't stretch in ease. It's in the valley when you can't see your way out, when the tears won't stop falling, when the burden feels too heavy. That's when you find out what you're really made of. That's where God does his deepest work. Some of the greatest oil in your life will come from the crushing. You're asking God for power, and he's giving you pressure. You're asking him for strength, and he's allowing struggle. Because he knows what he put in you. He knows you're not fragile. You're chosen. And chosen people go through chosen pain. Not because God is cruel, but because he's calling you higher. Because he's building something in you that cannot be shaken. The very thing you're crying about today might be the thing that elevates you tomorrow. That heartbreak might be the birthplace of your healing ministry. That betrayal might be what taught you discernment. That season of loneliness may be where you heard God's voice the clearest. Oh yes, pain talks, but if you only focus on what it's taking from you, you'll miss what it's teaching you. Don't despise the season that broke you. It also built you. You came out wiser. You came out stronger. You came out with a different kind of fire. That fire didn't come from applause. It came from adversity. It came from walking through the fire and realizing you didn't burn up. You burned brighter. Some of you are carrying wounds and wondering why God didn't stop it. But if he allowed it, he's going to redeem it. Nothing touches your life without going through his hands. Even what the enemy meant for evil, God will use for good. That pain may have been sent to destroy you, but God is going to turn it into purpose. Don't let the pain make you bitter. Let it make you better. Let it refine you. Let it focus you. Let it awaken something in you that comfort never could. Because pain reveals what praise hides. It shows you who your real friends are. It shows you what you really believe. It shows you how deep your roots go. And if you endure it, if you grow through it, if you hold on through the tears, there will be glory after this. So, don't run from the pain, learn from it, grow from it, because the same pain that broke you is the pain God will use to bless you. Let's talk about Joseph. Not the Joseph we admire at the end, the one wearing the robe of royalty, standing next to Pharaoh, handing out grain to nations. No, let's talk about the Joseph in the pit. The Joseph who was betrayed by his own brothers. The Joseph who was sold like a slave, lied on by Potiphar's wife, forgotten in a prison cell. That Joseph, because we love to celebrate the palace, but we don't always understand the process. We want the crown, but we don't want the crushing. We want the purpose, but we don't want the pit. But here's what you have to understand. God was in the pit, just as much as he was in the palace. That pit wasn't a mistake. That prison wasn't an accident. It was all a part of the process. The very thing that looked like a detour was actually the main road. That's how God works. He uses what looks like chaos to bring forth calling. He uses what looks like loss to build leadership. He uses what feels like abandonment to teach you how to carry an assignment. Joseph didn't get bitter. He didn't quit. He didn't say, "This can't be God." He kept on serving, kept on believing, kept on interpreting dreams, even when his own dreams hadn't come to pass. And here's the revelation. If Joseph hadn't been thrown in the pit, he wouldn't have been sold. If he hadn't been sold, he wouldn't have ended up in Potiphar's house. If he hadn't been falsely accused, he wouldn't have gone to prison. And if he hadn't gone to prison, he wouldn't have met the cupbearer. And if he hadn't met the cupbearer, he wouldn't have ended up standing before Pharaoh. What looked like an obstacle was really God's direction, every single step. You see, we want to skip over the struggle and get straight to the success. But the struggle is where God shapes you. The betrayal taught Joseph how to manage trust. The prison taught him how to lead under pressure. The years of silence taught him patience and endurance. And when the time came for promotion, he was ready not because of the palace, but because of the process. Don't judge your story too soon. You might still be in the pit. You might be in the prison season. But don't you dare give up, because what you think is rejection is really preparation. What you see as the end might just be God setting the stage for something bigger than you imagined. Joseph didn't see the palace from the pit, but he trusted the God who gave him the dream. He held on when it didn't make sense. And in the end, what looked like a curse turned out to be a calling. So if you're in the dark right now, keep walking. Keep serving, keep trusting, because God is not just the author, He's the finisher. And when it's all said and done, the pit won't be your legacy. The promise will. We spend so much time asking the wrong question. When life breaks down, when storms hit, when doors close and people walk away, our first cry is always, "Why, God? Why me?" But the real breakthrough comes not when you ask why, but when you ask, "Lord, what are you saying?" Because sometimes the answer is not in the explanation, it's in the revelation. And if you only look for reasons, you'll miss the divine instruction hidden in the disruption. See, we often want answers that fit our understanding. We want logic. We want everything to make sense. But God doesn't move by logic. He moves by purpose. He moves by destiny. And sometimes what makes no sense to your mind makes perfect sense to your mission. That's why you have to shift your question, shift your posture, shift your expectation, because God is always speaking. But are you asking the right question? Instead of saying, "Why did they leave me?" you ought to ask, "Lord, what did you want to remove from my life?" Instead of saying, "Why did I lose the job?" Ask, "What are you preparing me for that this place couldn't handle?" Instead of complaining about the closed door, ask, "God, what door are you preparing to open that I can't see yet?" Because when you shift from complaint to clarity, heaven begins to answer. There are messages in your moments. There's a lesson in your loss. There's direction in your disappointment. But if you stay stuck in frustration, you'll miss the transformation. The pain may never make sense from a human perspective, but from heaven's view, it was necessary. God doesn't waste a moment. He doesn't allow a storm unless there's something inside it you need to learn, receive, or release. But if your ears are only tuned to what hurts, you won't hear what helps. Asking why often locks you into victim mode. It makes you look at your wounds instead of your wisdom. But when you ask, "Lord, what are you saying?" you open your spirit to growth, to healing, to strategy, to discernment. And now the storm isn't just something you survive. It becomes something you steward. Let me tell you, the enemy wants you stuck in confusion. He wants you so focused on the pain that you can't perceive the purpose. But God says, lift your eyes, shift your question. I am still speaking. I am still guiding. I am still working, even in this. So the next time life throws you into chaos, stop and ask, "Lord, what are you saying in this silence? What are you doing in this delay? What are you teaching in this trial?" Because when you ask the right question, you'll stop feeling lost and you'll start feeling led. God's not punishing you, He's preparing you. The lesson is already in the moment, but you won't receive it until you ask with the right heart. There are moments in life when you pray with all your heart, cry out with all your strength, believe with all your faith, and the answer still comes back, no, and that no can feel like rejection. Like failure, like abandonment, you say, "God, how could you let this happen? I trusted you, I believed you." But what you thought was a denial was actually divine direction. Because God's no is not always rejection. It can be redirection, protection, and preparation for something greater than you had in mind. We cry over doors that God had to shut. We grieve over people who were never meant to stay. We mourn over opportunities that looked like blessings, but were really distractions in disguise. Just because it looked good to you doesn't mean it was God's best for you. And sometimes the most loving thing God can say is no. Not because He doesn't love you, but because He loves you too much to give you what you want instead of what you need. When God says no, He's not being cruel, He's being careful. He sees what you can't see. He sees the road up ahead. He knows that what you thought would bless you would break you. He knows that what you begged for would have burdened you. And so, in His mercy, He blocks it. He closes the door. He cancels the plan. And though it feels like rejection, it's actually a rescue. You thought the job was the breakthrough, but God knew it was a dead end. You thought that relationship was forever, but God saw the betrayal coming. You thought that opportunity was the answer to your prayers, but God had something so much bigger, and you were settling for less. So when the no came, it wasn't the end. It was a setup for something better. Let me tell you something, when God says no, it's because He's already said yes to something greater. But sometimes you've got to lose the lesser to make room for the greater. Sometimes you've got to walk through the pain of disappointment to find the path of destiny. Don't curse the no. Don't run from the silence. Don't fight the closed door. Trust that if God removed it, He's replacing it. If He shut it, He's shifting you. We serve a God who knows the end from the beginning, and when He closes one door, it's not to punish you, it's to preserve you. It's not to keep you out, it's to lead you forward. But you won't get there if you keep clinging to what He already closed. Let go of the no so you can walk into the next. So lift your head, dry your tears, and straighten your back. That no didn't break you, it built you. It didn't end your story, it opened the next chapter. Because when God says no, He's not just closing something, He's clearing the way for His best.